Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Young and Wifed Up. This is Marcella.
And I'm Gabby.
And thanks for joining us this week for this season's premiere episode.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are so excited to be back after a few months of going dark for the podcast while Marcella and I move. We're going to do a huge life update today. But before we get into that, we have a few announcements to give. The first one is we are back on Patreon. We are uploading new content, including 2 bonus episodes a month for our sister and queen tiers. We also have printables and home management resources. And we have all the Reco links. And then we also have exclusive merchandise for sister and queen tiers. And if you are a queen, you get to participate in our monthly video chats. So if you want to hang out with us more on a one-on-one basis, this is a perfect opportunity to do that. So sign up. You can find our Patreon link on our website.
Also, another way that you can support the podcast is by rating us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen. That gives you the option to give a rating. Give your honest 5-star review of the podcast. We would really appreciate it. Obviously, if you don't like the podcast, don't give us a 5-star review.
Just stop
Don't
listening.
Be a liar. Just don't listen.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a huge way to help us out. It doesn't cost you anything. It takes 30 seconds to do, and it really does go a long way when a lot of you do it all at once. So keep that in mind as well when you are wanting to support us.
Yes, thank you so much. And also, we want to say a huge thank you to the huge influx of downloads we've gotten since the end of January. We went from 16,000 downloads to 21,000 downloads in just 3 months. So thank you all so much for sharing and for discovering the episodes and for just listening. Thank you guys. Like, this is so fun for us. And the fact that there are 21 downloads is kind of 21,000 downloads is kind of overwhelming.
It's 21.
I would be overwhelmed if it was just 21. But 21,000 is kind of crazy. And we're actually coming close to 22,000. So we are right now, in honor of surpassing 20,000 downloads, are doing a giveaway on our Facebook. So Marcella, how can they participate in that giveaway?
So we are currently doing a home reset challenge giveaway in our Facebook group for the month of May. Our good friend Lynn, who just got promoted to a moderator in our Facebook group. Hi, Lynn.
Hi,
Lynn. She's also one of our patrons, and we have just loved connecting with her. She is kind of hosting this whole home reset challenge, and it's been super great. So if you enter and you do the challenge and you end up winning, you will receive a $25 digital gift card to Amazon. And you can participate in a challenge on Facebook by posting a comment with a picture for proof that you did the challenge for that week. I need to get on that also.
Yeah,
the first one I think was the fridge organization one. Yeah.
So I actually just did it today myself. And even though we moved recently and the fridge wasn't super bad, there was still a lot of leftovers and things that I had been kind of neglecting. So it was good. And I posted my pic, and I've seen a few other girls starting to post theirs. So you can participate in the fridge challenge and get an entry into our $25 gift card Amazon. But then there's going to be 4 more challenges after that. So you'll have multiple chances to enter into this giveaway. So head to our Facebook group. You can find that link in our website as well, youngandwifedup.com. And I think that's it for our announcements.
I think so too.
So we have to update you guys. We've been gone since the end of January, and I've been posting a little bit on my personal Instagram pages. We've done small updates on our Facebook group, but not a whole lot. So a lot has happened in the past couple months, and we would love to just take this first episode to just kind of bring you guys into our life for a moment and share with you guys what's been going on. And then after this episode, we can go straight into the practical and good episodes talking about different topics. We're really excited about this month's topics. So I'm going to hand it off to Marcella. She's going to go first because she technically moved first. So I'm going to let her go first.
Yeah. So my husband and I, with our 2 boys, moved to Tennessee. We were officially out here like towards the beginning of, was it February or March?
February.
I'm trying to remember because Jed came out first because he started a job, and so me and the boys stayed back for about a month.
All a blur.
Yes, it is kind of all blur. So he started his job, and then he was kind of searching around for us for a place to live. I think that's totally a great way to do that if you're having to move long distances and you have, a family and you have kids and stuff like that. And we were really grateful. I have some family in the area. They're about 30 minutes away from where we are currently living. And so he was able to kind of stay with them for that month while he went and looked for housing situation and all these different things. And then he came back, and then we moved everything within a week, all of our stuff. He drove everything out there himself, with the help of some family also. And then I flew with the boys. That way they weren't stuck in a car for 8 hours a day. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got out here. We are in a really nice city. We've been able to get plugged into a really great church that's about 15 minutes away from us, which was a huge priority. It really dictated where we chose we were going to be living. And for those of you who are in our Facebook group who know Shannon, I now live 15 minutes away from her, which is so crazy. It's like kind of surreal because you've met her, Gabriella, you've met her like in person a few times now, and I've never seen her before in person. And so Jed actually got to meet her before I even got to meet her because he was out here and he was, going to church while he was kind of starting his new job and stuff. So it's been really awesome, like connecting with her. And it's so difficult making friends as an adult, especially when you have kids, because you already have no time as it is. And then when you go to hang out with other moms, it's like 75% of the time you're still dealing with your kids most of the time. So then it's still like, it's really hard to make connections really quickly. So I feel like Shannon and I I feel like it's just so casual between us now. Like we've known each other for years. And yeah, she's like a big sister to me and I love her. And I'm so glad I'm close. Obviously no replacement for Gabby.
You better not.
I know Shannon's probably dying if she ever listens to this. It's really funny because there are so many things that Shannon does sometimes that I'm like, that's literally my sister. It's really weird. And I'm like, no wonder like you and her became such good friends so quickly because you guys have like similar vibes. It's so funny.
Yes.
But it just like, it made it so much easier to like connect with her and stuff. Cause I was like, oh, it's just like, I'm talking with my sister.
Yeah. No, that's so true. She's one of us. She really is.
No, literally. Yeah, literally. So yeah, it's been great. We've been loving it out here. The weather has been a little bit wacky the past month or so. We had like a tornado scare. My first one, it was traumatizing. But obviously we survived. We're still in one piece. Our house did not blow away. And yeah, there are some things that are definitely a little bit of a culture shock. I think because like you don't realize how different you are from like Southerners, like as a purely like West Coast girl.
Yeah.
There are some things that have happened like since we've moved here that I've been like, whoa, like I'm not used to that at all. Or people will catch on that I'm not from around here. Like I think I've had 3 people now tell me, like ask me where I'm from because of my accent, which is really funny because I'm like, you're the one that has an accent. Like I don't have an accent. So I'll like walk in somewhere and talking to somebody. They're like, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from California. Like I just moved here. They're like, oh, okay, that explains your accent. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? But just like lingo, things that we say, and like, I don't know, so many different things that it's just like you don't realize how different, like very different backgrounds for sure. So that's been a bit of an adjustment. We've met like I think maybe 3, 4 other people this whole time that have actually like were born and raised in California and like moved here as adults. But most people are either from, Kentucky or from another part of Tennessee, or they're from like the Midwest or whatever. So it's definitely a bit of a mixed bag out here for sure. But everybody's so lovely so far. It's really great. Hang on, I need to take a sip of water. I'm fighting off sickness right now. Is this yours?
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to mention
Yeah.
that I'm so excited because in 2 weeks from today, I'm going to be in Tennessee for 5 days and I get to stay with my sister. And so we're going to have a reunion and I'm going to cry. I could literally cry just thinking about it. And then I'm literally tearing up like I'm such a baby. And I'm also we're going to hang out with Shannon for my birthday because that's my birthday week. So I'm so excited to be with my girls and it'll be such a fun time. So I'm so excited to go. And I love visiting Tennessee. Like, even though like our family decided not to move there, Ryan and I love visiting. It's a wonderful place, especially the part that Marcella and Shannon live at. Like, I feel like when I'm there, I'm comfortable and it's beautiful and it feels like home, So I'm really thankful that you guys are close to each other and that you live in a really nice like area that still gives you like the rural lifestyle, but you're not like totally in the boonies,
We're not straight in the boonies. Yeah, we're far enough away. So like the closest major city that we're near is Nashville.
Yeah.
So we're kind of away from the busyness of that. But if we, it's definitely like way less than a day trip to like make it to that area if we wanted to. So yeah.
You have another announcement to make.
Yes, I do.
Your update.
So I'm sorry, I'm probably clipping the audio so much, like my coughing. What was I saying? Oh, so we are expecting baby number 3.
Yeah.
That's the problem. I don't know which update is bigger, moving across the country or having another baby.
Both.
All in the same year. They're both equally huge. I'm currently 20 something weeks. I don't know anymore. You kind of lose track. I feel like with Seth, with my firstborn, I was very like diligent to know which week I was on, and now I'm just like, I forget that I'm pregnant half the time. I think I'm like 22, 23 weeks right now. So more than halfway. I feel bad because I haven't posted on my social media at all. Like the last thing I posted like on my Instagram was for Eli's first birthday, which was in October. And then I just like went silent.
You pieced the heck out, man.
And it wasn't even because like the rest of the year, I wasn't even really that busy. I was just like, I just don't want to post anymore. I just like don't want to.
Yeah.
So I took a really, I know. And then I've gone into spurts of, I'll probably start posting again. And then like, nah.
So much work.
I know it is a lot of work, but yeah, so I think some people who find this out, I think I'll post on my social media eventually. We have a kind of a running joke right now that I shouldn't say anything until after I've had the baby. And then just post on social media, like, by the way,
I think you
I had a
should. I still
baby.
think you should. Like, it
That
can
would
be
be
a Young and Wifed
insane.
Up exclusive, and everybody has this secret, and we all collectively keep it
So only
together.
the people that listen to have actually listened to the podcast, or
Yes,
I've actually like personally told
of
will know
course,
that
of course.
I'm. So yeah, we do not know the gender yet. We are not intending for it to be a surprise, but just in the Lord's providence, I've had to wait this long. Just with the moving, having to switch insurances, switch providers, do all this stuff. For any of you who have had to deal with this, the moving while being pregnant, it is just like such a long process.
Mm,
Trying to get appointments scheduled and everything, and kind of the area that we're in, it gets the medical offices and stuff kind of get a little bombarded. Plus, like, there's a lot of young families in the area, so it doesn't surprise me either. But we should be finding out, when does this go live?
Monday,
This coming
May
Monday,
8th, I think,
8th,
or 6th.
whatever this Monday is.
Yeah. But the patrons should get it like tomorrow.
Yeah. So, maybe I will post in the Young and Wifed Up Facebook group, because we're batch recording. We're recording a bunch of stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
So we're recording everything tonight, and I still don't know. So I'm not trying to keep it from you. I genuinely don't even know for myself. So I should be finding out. We're recording this on the Tuesday before this goes live. I will be finding out in 2 days on Thursday. So I'm really excited. I'm like a little bit anxious because it would be wild to have a third boy, and then it would also be wild to like have a girl, because that would be completely different than anything
Yes.
I know.
I can't even picture it.
I can't even picture having a girl.
Yeah, I can't. I
That
can't
would be
picture it
wild.
either. Also, like, I like feel like I was psychic for like both Seth and Eli. I knew with every like
You have, like,
fiber of my being
intuitive.
that
Yeah.
it was a boy for both of
Mhm.
them. And I literally cannot get a read on this one. Everybody's gonna think I sound so hokey and new age, but genuinely, like, I had such a strong feeling about both Seth and Eli, and I know this child is a wild card. I have no idea what this baby's gonna be.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know either. I think I did also have like some gut feelings about the last two, that they were also both going to be boys, but yeah, this one is kind of the same. I think just because, I don't know, maybe it's just third pregnancy things. Maybe after two, it's just like there's just no way of knowing anymore.
Yeah.
You're always guessing. So yeah, we are so excited to grow our family more. It is kind of insane. We're going to be a family of 5, and I am
Wild.
due. I know that's really crazy to me, and it's even crazier because most places where I go, like, so far, all of the appointments that I've had with care team, like for my prenatal care and stuff, they're like, "Oh, it's your first?" And I'm like, "No, it's my third." And then I'm like, "Oh, my
They're like,
third."
aren't you 19?
They're like, "You're like 14. Like, how did this happen?" I'm like, "I promise, I'm not a teen mom. I just look really young, and most of the time I'm just like not wearing makeup, and like I'm short, and I'm like kind of petite, so everybody just thinks I'm like, I'm like, this is my first kid."
That's so funny.
Yeah, it is really, really crazy. So yeah, due towards the end of August, but everybody's like, "What's your specific due date?" And I'm like, it doesn't matter. They're going to come 2 weeks late anyway.
I know.
Like all of my
Marcella's
other.
perpetually late.
So the
I'm
Lord
sorry.
has given me much patience over the past few years over that specifically. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he'll,
Fly out.
throw me a curveball.
Maybe we'll fly out
early.
Make it to the hospital.
Yeah, that would be nuts. So yeah, those are the two biggest things. I can't really think of anything else that's been like super crazy. It's been definitely a big adjustment getting used to Jed's new work schedule. And communicating about that and, trying to give grace towards each other for various reasons, moving with a family while being pregnant and doing all this stuff. It's like your hormones are just kind of whack anyway.
Yeah.
So adding the stress of everything definitely makes things difficult, but he's been very gracious and I'm very grateful for that. Yeah, I don't know what else.
I don't know. I guess like you had already kind of touched on like the country lifestyle, things are
Yeah.
it's completely different, a lot more slower paced and
Yeah, it's interesting because the area that we were all living in California, I would say we were even just a little bit further away from LA than we are currently from Nashville.
Mhm.
And it was still, even in the area that we were in California, it was still like very crowded.
Yes.
So I think the only thing that's a little bit like more difficult out here is that because so many people are moving to this area, it's like very high in demand. The cities are having a really hard time keeping up with their infrastructure. So the roads are really nice, but there are not a lot. So you get traffic on like these this one main road that everybody's needing to use to get in and out of the city. And I've heard that's kind of a pretty common complaint. But yeah, the climate is different. The people are way different. Even like getting used to the different grocery stores. Like the only thing that I know that's like in the area is like Walmart I'm used to. And like we also had an Aldi, but we didn't have like a Kroger. I was like, what's a Kroger? Like when we got it, what's that? So just like a lot of small things getting used to, and also just really loving there's so many parks out here and they're nice and there's not like tons of homeless people doing drugs everywhere. You get the oddballs here and there. You're gonna get them everywhere. Like you can't.
Yeah, you can't escape it.
No, but it is completely. It's just like I feel safe enough to go to a park by myself,
right?
And not like I have to fear for my life. And this was even when we were living in California. We were living in a fairly nicer area, and even then, it just shows like how far down it's gone. But, yeah, just so many things to be grateful for. Like the amount of hours that the boys have like accrued with being outside just since moving here has just gone up exponentially. And that's just been such a huge blessing. And it's green. It's so cool. It's just like you just don't realize like how much environment just like affects so much. But yeah, obviously like we miss Gabby and Ryan so much. Like Jed and I multiple times a week are like, we miss Gabby and Ryan. Like it's so hard living so far away. It's literally the worst part of this whole thing. We moved away also, like obviously we moved out of our parents' house. We were subleasing from them while we were in California for various circumstances. But we're also far away from them, but it's not as bad because we know that they're moving out here in the next way. So it's like we're looking forward to that hope that they're going to be out here with us again. But it's different than like there's no hope. There's no hope. They're stuck out there. They're not stuck. They made the choice. But yeah, it's like there's none of that like looking forward to, oh man, like they're going to be out here soon and we can all be together again like that.
Yeah.
But my grandparents are out here, and Jed and I are super close with them. The boys have been hanging out with them like multiple times a week. They always love going to their house, to Gigi Mom and Poppy's house. It's always about Gigi Mom and Poppy's house. And it's so cool seeing your grandparents
be grandparents again.
Be grandparents again? Yeah, it is crazy. It's really crazy. And I know that
Especially
they're
because we
like,
had such a positive, sweet relationship as kids with them
yes,
that like we get to
yes.
like watch it from a different perspective because they're the same. They're just
Oh
it's
yeah,
just like with
totally.
a new batch of kids.
No, literally. Yeah, it is. It's just the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing ever. And like, I know so many people who don't get to say that their great grandparents got to be involved in their own children's
Yeah.
lives is like,
Yeah.
it is such a blessing. And I'm like cherishing every moment because I know it's kind of like morbid, but like we just don't know like how long they have left. And, they would say the same thing and they know, like,
Yeah.
they're getting older and stuff. And you just have to like take advantage of all of that time
Totally.
that you have with them and, trying to create memories. And like, I do wonder how old our kids will be by the
Mhm.
time they pass away and like if our kids will remember them. Because I don't really remember our
Our
great
great grand
grandparents. I know
yeah.
they were around for a little while, but I don't really remember like spending much time with them. But I
Mhm.
was just so little and like Seth is already going to be 4 this year. So I'm like, hoping if they keep chugging along, like they'll be old enough to a point where maybe just at least Seth and Eli will like
Yeah.
remember their relationship with their great grandparents because like you and I benefited so much from it. Even in our
Yes.
teens, in our
Yes.
young adult years, it's like just
Yeah,
it's
they're
just so cool.
golden.
Yeah, so cool. So and also, yeah, my aunt and uncle are out here with my little cousins that we have not lived close to for many years. So it's been hard keeping up with them trying to
Become
hang
adults.
out and stuff. Yeah, because everybody's just super busy. And so, trying to reconnect with them and build relationships with them as well is it's really nice having them close by as well. And Jed has been able to connect with them like super quickly and easily. And they haven't lived close to us in many years. Like they lived out of state when Jed and I met and got married and all these different things. So I feel like we're all trying to like play a little bit of catch up now,
Yeah.
which is it's fun. So yeah. Anyway, I will stop hogging our time so that you can tell us what's been going on with you.
Well, no, it's not hogging. I'm enjoying the update too, even though I know everything. Well, I didn't know about all the people saying that you oh wait, what were you saying? Oh, all the people being shocked that it's your third child.
Yeah, no, it's
That's
it's a
funny.
it's a regular thing. It's a regular, and all of them are like, "Oh, it's your first," and I'm like, "No, it's not.
So cute.
Actually, not."
Okay, so I'll try to I don't know why I put this in like complete out of order on my notes, but I'm going to try to do it in order. So the biggest thing besides moving that has changed in our life is me and my friend Jasenia always say that we're in retirement because we both quit our careers in the last couple of years.
Yay!
Yay! And so even though it's not retirement, like, cause duh, like we're still working. It's just not for money.
Yeah.
But so I retired from my business of being a music teacher and a pianist, and that being my vocation. And so I had a mega, what do you call it? Identity crisis. Like the first week that I left my studio because I did like a recital as like my last hurrah with like all my kids and it was so precious,
Mm.
so sweet, so emotional. And I'm so thankful that I had so many wonderful families that I worked with. They just like the send off was spectacular. They were so loving, so like appreciative. And I was able to hand most of my students that I like really wanted to hand off to another teacher, I was able to do to like a really amazing Christian woman that teaches piano and she's also a good friend of ours. And I felt so comfortable and happy to pass them on to her. And now they're benefiting from her and her expertise in the way she teaches. And I felt so good doing that, knowing that like I could pass on my students to somebody that I really loved and trusted, because I know that not a lot of people, when they leave their careers, can do something like that, where they
Yeah.
feel like completely at peace,
Yeah.
knowing that the clients that they work with, are being taken care of. And so the fact that I was able to do that is a huge blessing from God. So yeah, like I said, I had like a mega identity crisis for like a week. I was like, who am I? Because when something is like wrapped up in your identity for your entire life, and then all of a sudden you cut it cold turkey, it's like a shock to your
Yeah, it's
system.
intense. Yeah.
It like genuine. I know you went through this, like when you had Seth, and I feel like it would have been easier if I had a kid because I like, but it was like, oh, I have to make this choice and I'm choosing to like move on. And there's not like
because
these circumstances.
when you make that choice with children, you feel like it's more justifiable because
Yes.
you're like, okay, well, I have to do this because of the kids. And it's like, people
Yes.
will not take as much time to argue with you about your choices
Totally.
if it's like, well, of course, you have children. Like, you need to spend more time with them. But
Yeah.
it's like when you don't have children and you make that decision, it's like, you got to be sure and confident
Yes.
and knowing why
Yes,
you're doing what you're doing.
And there was a little bit of the fear of man, like, that I was struggling with, of like, what will people think that I don't have a child and that I'm going to be essentially a stay-at-home wife. Like, people scoff at stay-at-home mom, but even more at like
at stay-at-home wife.
oh, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so I don't regret continuing to teach as long as I did, but I regret not being willing to make the sacrifice for myself and for our family sooner, because it is a sacrifice for you to lay down a part of you.
Yeah, totally.
It's like a part of me, being a musician, being a teacher was like me, people associate with me music and piano. And so when I say like, I'm no longer doing this professionally, it makes you think like, well, am I good at anything else? Like, am I worth anything else? So it was a little bit of an intense experience. But Ryan was so wonderful to me. And like, of course, like everybody around me was like positive and sweet. Like my close friends and my family were just cheering me on. And like, it made me feel like comfortable and supported. And so I did end up kind of like moving past that stage. And I'll still cry, if I think about my kids, and, I mourn like the relationships, that I had with them, and, but it's more, I'm so like thankful that I had the time that I had with them. And now I'm just like, how did I have a job and maintain our home? That's literally crazy. I do not know how I did that, because
well, you did it. You did it and your body was falling apart.
Yes, and I was getting
That's
sick
what you sacrificed.
So yeah, I sacrificed my body when I was working. Yes, and joy, honestly, joy in keeping my home, joy in taking care of Ryan and taking care of my health. And so now I am experiencing, like, it happened pretty quickly where I like experienced like true contentment and joy being at home, because I was finally able to like center my schedule and my day around like being creative in our home, and like doing things that I always wanted to do, like learn how to make a sourdough and learn like these homemaking arts that I always was like, wow, like someday I want to do that. And so even though like, it is a sad circumstance that we're approaching 5 years of trying to conceive, and but like I can like ask, like I can sincerely look at this time, whether it be short or long, that I'm home and it's just Ryan and I, that I got to cultivate a lot of these skills. And it's just been wonderful. God has been blessing us. I feel like so empowered, like in a crazy way. Like it's so backwards, right? Because I feel like the world would see how I was able to do both. She
Mhm.
works at home and then she's, bringing in this income and she has her own business and she can call it hers. And they would call that empowerment. And like to a level, like it was, but it was more like a prison I had made for myself. Like
Mhm.
it wasn't necessarily empowerment. Like, of course, it made me feel good. I loved it so much. I loved the families that I worked with. But like now I feel insanely empowered as a woman. Like I feel like I'm embracing like the call that the Lord has put out for his daughters, and I'm like not looking back. So now when people
Mhm.
ask like, "Oh, are you going to go back to teaching?" I'll say like, I don't know what the Lord has for us. I don't know. I'm not going to say no forever. And at some point, like Lord willing, we have our own children either naturally or by other means. I'm going to use those skills that I have to teach them.
Mhm.
So whether it be my children or other people's children, like I know that, right now is not that season.
Mhm.
The right now is the season for me to lean into taking care of my home, taking care of my health, and being involved in our new church and just, embracing that. And I think that the fact that we had made the decision for me to stop working and also made the decision for us to move to a different state. They complemented each other in a lot of ways because I feel like I would not have been able to confidently make the decision to quit my job had I not known we were moving. Like I knew eventually I was going to have to quit, but knowing that we were moving like made it a lot easier on me emotionally. And then us moving kind of has removed the choice from me to teach
Mhm.
because I would have to start from scratch, and of course, like I know I if I had to do it, I would. Um, but the fact that we're like not there, like I'm not like tempted to like, oh, maybe I'll just have one or two students, or I'll try to make it work.
Yeah.
I'm like completely removed from the community that we have, even though it's like that's the worst part. Like Marcella said, the worst part about moving is leaving the people you love. And Ryan and
Yeah.
I loved so many wonderful, wonderful people. And I'm thankful, like, since we moved to Nevada, we're only a driving distance away from everybody except for my family.
Yeah.
Um, but everybody else, like our older church family, my students, Ryan's family, the people that we were connected with in our community there, we're not like so far, but we're far enough to where I don't feel the pressure that I need to keep my business going.
Mhm.
So anyway, so that happened like 2 or 3 months. Oh, actually, yeah, 3 months before we moved. We moved the beginning of April, and it was an extreme hardship to move. So many things happened to us the couple weeks that we moved. Like it would take an entire episode for me to explain all of the
Yeah.
insane things that happened to us, from getting stranded in the middle of the desert to getting into a car accident. Like just it genuinely felt like spiritual attacks. And like we believed we were being obedient to God when what we were doing with our family, and it just felt like extremely oppressive, like everything that was
Yeah.
happening to us. And so now things are starting to level out, praise God, and we're just able to enjoy our home and the blessings of our new church and our new city. We are absolutely in love with our new town. It has all of the things that I loved about my hometown, and all the things that I didn't love about our hometown are not there.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
said, you can't escape sin. We live in a fallen world. There's no utopian society where there's, no hardship or no crazy
Mhm.
people or no violence or, we're touched by sin. No matter, we can't escape it, until the Lord comes back. But we are definitely in a safer area than we were before. It's more affordable to live here. It's not like living in the South where Marcel is experiencing like $3 gas or $2 gas. I don't even know. That doesn't, it's
I think
crazy.
our gas right now is 3.20 something
Yeah, that's
a gallon.
insane. So yeah,
Yeah.
so I would say like California versus Nevada, like Nevada is like $1 cheaper with everything. So like you feel it, you feel the difference. It's
Yeah,
not
some of the financial
extreme,
relief.
but there
Yeah.
is some financial relief. And with me no longer having an income, it's helpful that we are now living in a more affordable place. And our house is overwhelmingly wonderful. We are so like overwhelmed with how much God has blessed us with our home. And we have like a designated guest space for people to come visit us. We have like a little backyard, which we didn't have, and we didn't even have a porch in our last place. So
Yeah.
we didn't even have like a place to sit outside. So
Yeah.
even that was just like, wow, like God has blessed us so much. And it's beautiful. I personally love the desert. I love like all of God's creation, but like I feel at home in the desert. And this desert definitely looks different. Like the Nevada and California desert are very different, but it's been so beautiful. Like the mountains are beautiful. Like it just feels like a better part of where we came from. Um, and our church has been just, oh, I could cry talking about that. God has blessed us so much already. Like we've only been there for a month and we already feel like deeply connected there. The pastor has been absolutely wonderful. Lord willing, we'll be members either at the end of this month or the beginning of next. And we just feel so loved, so welcomed. They were anticipating us. They wanted us. They were excited about us coming in. We can just feel that love when we came. And so we're just so thankful. That was that, like Marcella said, like that was like the most important thing to us when deciding exactly where we were going to move, that we would be connected to a good church that we thought was faithful to the scriptures, but also just like having a community, right? Like having a Christian community is gold. Like you can't, it's irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And especially
Yeah.
because we were coming from a strong Christian community in California, it's like,
Yeah.
it's really intimidating, like feeling like you have to start from scratch. And there's some of that, like you have to start over, you have to make
Mhm.
new connections, you're having to introduce yourself a million times and tell your story a million times. And,
Mhm.
and it's just, God has still blessed us and we're really thankful.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that's kind of like the big update is like about my health. If you guys have been listening to the podcast for a while, you know that I struggle with various chronic illnesses, and a lot of them are centered around my reproductive health. And it's actually insane. I think two things have contributed to a lot of things improving. I wouldn't say I'm in remission because a lot of things would have to happen in order for that to be considered true. But I
Yeah.
would say that we are on a trajectory of that. I do think like God can heal me. I'm not saying like that there's this magic cure or magic combo or anything, but like we have been praying and fasting and asking the Lord to heal me, and we've been doing a lot of things to improve my situation, and that included quitting my job. And it was almost instant after I quit my job. Like I think I've only had one flare up since January, which is
That's
insane
that's
because I was having a flare up every single month.
Mhm.
And so it's just like God is so good to me. He's spared me so much. And I also think another thing that has contributed before that even happened, I went to get lab work done at my doctor, and she was shocked at my lab work. It was improved. A lot of things that we had been trying to work on for a long time had improved like drastically. And she was like kind of like in shock about what I was doing. And she was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So I've been on like a regimen of supplements, and I'm on 2 different pharmaceuticals that we've approved and we think are worth it for me. But I think that the biggest thing that has contributed to um my labs improving and my blood work improving is that I stopped eating plant-based, and I stopped eating, like I was essentially a pescatarian, except for like probably not categorically because pescatarians eat fish and eggs, but I would
And you
eat
were doing
chicken.
chicken. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I had absolutely no dairy products. Like, and I ate that way for like like 4 years, like maybe even more. And the past 6 months, I have transitioned to eating like high animal product content, but just like extremely high quality, like grass fed and raw and the best that you can get, which means it's more expensive. So we have to make cuts and, and sacrifices in other areas.
But honestly,
But
like the plant-based alternative stuff
they're
that
always
also
already
gets really expensive anyway.
yeah, our grocery budget hasn't changed that much since I switched from plant-based to eating animal products. But I feel so much better. My mental health is so much better. My gut issues have improved a ton, and Ryan is happier. We're eating like things that I never thought I would eat before. Like I'm learning how to cook things I never thought I'd have to cook before.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of like a long journey. And yeah, so eating a lot of animal products and eating a lot of fermented food, including like fermented grains like sourdoughs and stuff like that. So anyway, that has contributed, I believe, to a ton of my improvement with my health. But again, I still have a long way to go. I still have to establish care in Nevada. I still have to see a specialist for my potential autoimmune hepatitis situation. And again, like I might not even have it, but I have the markers for it in my blood. So I have to get a biopsy on my liver. So there's like a few things that I still have to get worked out in Nevada. So I wouldn't say like I'm better, but I feel a lot better overall. And I think that that's a huge improvement from where I was before.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
so that's basically the biggest updates for us. I mean, Nevada living is a little bit different too, even though we didn't move to like an insanely different place from the West Coast, like Southern California. Moving to Nevada, like the things that have changed for us is more like it is a little bit hotter than it was that where we lived before. Because where we lived was still a desert, so it was still very hot. But here it's like about 5 degrees hotter.
Oh,
And you
good
feel
luck
that
in a couple of months.
you feel those 5 degrees, man. You really do.
Yeah.
And we are close to Vegas. We live about a half an hour outside of Vegas. So when we get on the freeway to go anywhere, you see the skyline and it's pretty incredible, you know. But the only time I've lived this close to a city is when I lived in downtown LA.
Yeah.
And I was in the city for 3 years. But other than that, like I lived at least an hour and a half away from any major city. So my whole life. So this is a little bit different. Like living this close to a city is kind of wild. It's kind of about the same distance as you for you to get to Franklin or Nashville.
I think we're like to technically get into Nashville, I think we're probably like 45, 50 minutes away. Yeah.
So yeah, it depends. Like and there is a lot of traffic. But we're just kind of learning the roads and trying to figure out like the best routes and stuff. And yeah, but it's still like we still haven't explored, like because we've been dealing with the car accident situation and both of us got really sick when we moved. We haven't been able to like go to the Hoover Dam or do like fun like nature stuff, but we're planning on doing it. Like last weekend we went to a baseball game and that was just so fun. So we haven't like explored as much as we'd like to because it's been so chaotic, but soon we're going to have the opportunity to do that more. And yeah, so it's been really fun getting to know the new city, new food places, you know. The grocery shopping is a little weird too. Like all of the grocery stores that were like just down the street from me are now like a 15-20 minute drive. And the closest one is like a Kroger. It's a Smith's, which is like the same thing as Kroger. They use the same products.
Okay.
And it's honestly like it doesn't have a lot of organic options and it's just kind of like meh. So I kind of have to plan my grocery shopping a little better, which is like the most annoying thing, which I'm sure you're experiencing
food
too.
Options in California, it was definitely superior.
Top tier.
For sure.
Top tier.
For sure.
So yeah, that's basically it for my life update. And I'm really excited to be back recording, even though, we just moved a few weeks ago. Thankfully, my mom stayed with us for about a week and she helped me put the entire house together. If it wasn't for her, it would not be this put together. I owe her my life.
Yeah, so she flew out with me and the boys. She went on the plane with us, so it was the four of us flew while Jed was in the middle of driving our stuff across the country. And she also stayed for, I think, 4 days, 5 days, or
Mhm.
something like that. And her and my grandma came over when we were unpacking, and she just like, they overhauled my kitchen. Like, I did not have to like unpack a single box in my kitchen, which was
Yes,
like
good.
a huge blessing. Because even at that time, I was still dealing with a lot of like morning sickness, even though it wasn't
Mhm.
morning, like full day situation. Yeah, but man, they were hustling over here, and I think she was just like, I only have a few days to help her, so I'm just gonna do whatever I can. But it literally saved me just
Yes.
so much time. So it was just like, wow, it's
I know. She's a
it
rock
was really
star.
nice. Yeah,
I owe her so
yeah.
much because yeah, she even helped Ryan like hang things on walls and get the power tools out and put stuff together. And she went with me thrifting to find furniture, and we were just like, yeah, it was wild.
All
But
over the place.
she was probably so tired when she got home. But I'm so thankful for her. Thanks, Mom. I know you're listening, and
Yeah, yeah.
I miss them so much. And yeah, it just really sucks being so far from family, but God has already blessed us and we did the right thing. And God is, bringing Ryan and I closer together and mending our hearts together. And I just pray that, God blesses us with a child soon so that we can fill this huge house with people.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
kind of crazy. It's just Ryan and I in this big old house. And we're like, what do we do now?
Uh-huh. Yeah, totally. No,
Anyway.
another thing that I forgot to mention that you kind of mentioned a little bit after we moved, we definitely like have been going through a grieving process from leaving our church family because we
Mm,
were so blessed
yeah, they're
with what we
wonderful.
had in California and like our pastor and just like literally everything. And I know like time will help the relationships here grow, and
Yeah.
the more we're able to spend time with people. But naturally, I mean, we miss our
Mm,
church family so
yeah.
much. Like, I think about them probably at least once a day. Like, I think about all those people. It's just, yeah, that's probably been, apart from like moving away from you guys, moving away from our
Mhm.
friends, also the families from your church that we were so close to, like
Yeah.
younger families that we just grew so close to. Like, that was just like another huge, huge blow for
Mhm.
sure. So if you are settled in somewhere, you love where you live, and you've been plugged into a church family and you have that, like, do not take that for granted. It is just like, you just don't realize like how much it affects just
Yes.
your practical weekly things,
Mm,
connecting with people, like having that community is just, it is just so paramount. So for,
totally
yeah,
agree.
for any of uh, my friends back in California at GRBC, we miss you so much. We miss you so much.
I miss the
I know you
GRBC
miss them
people too.
too.
My
It's so
friends
funny
are
because
hanging
of
out
like
with them
I
and
know
they're like sending
it's
pics to
so
us, making us
crazy.
jealous. And I'm like,
It's
stop.
so funny. It's so funny. Like we got super close to families. Like I feel like you and I were kind of like, we like
A
somehow
bridge.
merged,
We had a church merger unofficially.
which would be wild because Presbyterians and Baptists is just like, does not happen. But yeah, it is so cool. And I think like I have so many fond memories, like thinking back to all the times where it was just a huge mixed group of,
Yes.
especially all of us women, coming together, young and old, with all of our kids, and
Yeah.
older women, all these different things. And like, enjoying those times together and thinking about that. It is just such great memories. And, hoping that soon we will kind of get back to that
Experience that.
same
Yeah.
type of environment.
Yes,
Yeah, it takes time. It takes
it
time.
does.
So we're just having to be very, very patient and doing what we can. And there's so many pros to having moved, and I don't think we, made a bad decision or anything like that. There's so
Right.
many reasons, why we ended up coming out here. And a huge one was to keep me home.
Yes.
Keep me home with the children. So
Same.
because of that, yeah, because of that, it's just like, you have to be willing to sacrifice some things. And it's really crazy to me when women are like, well, I can't, we just would never financially be able to do it. And it's like, what it took for us to be able to do this is us moving across the country. Like
Yeah.
sometimes when it is really that important to you, you are willing to make such a huge sacrifice.
Yeah.
And, Jed kind of led us here. And obviously we were both wanting to leave California for various reasons. But I mean, it was just the biggest one was like, we could just eventually, if you're living in an area where you have no choice but to have a 2-income household, you have to, like, if
Yeah.
your main priority is for you as a wife and a mother, or a wife or a mother is to stay at home, it's like, I'm not gonna tell people, oh, you have a lot to sacrifice and not be willing to do it myself. So I hope you guys know that, we do take this really seriously, and I hope that you
Yeah.
see that by making the decisions, the huge life altering decisions that we have had to the past few months, that, it'll show that we're not just talking the talk, like we want to walk
Yeah.
the walk as well. So yeah.
Yes. No, I totally agree. Like, it is important that we are transparent and that we show, like, this is not like rainbows and butterflies. Like,
No,
we left like a place that we lived our entire life.
a good situation. Yes.
Yeah, like a very blessed situation, like close, like 5 minutes away from family members and like 10 minutes away from church and, a super strong community. But yeah, like just in our circumstance, because I don't want to speak for everybody in Southern California, because I know everybody's situations are different. Like at
Yeah.
some point we had no choice. And so
Yeah.
we had to make the choice before it became before the
Forced
choice
on
was
you.
taken before the choice was taken out of our hands,
Mhm.
and especially with you having a growing family and like, we desire to have a large family ourselves, and like
Yeah.
we couldn't buy we would have never been able to move out of our apartment. We could have never, even though Ryan has a very good job.
Mhm.
It's just the situation in Southern California. It's for young families, it's almost impossible. Like it's so hard. And people do it. And I applaud those families that have stuck it out and they still, the men work and the women stay at home and they sacrifice a lot of comfort and a lot of stability to be
Mhm.
able to honor God with their family, and they're living in California, and it's hard, man. And so
It
I
is
just
really
pray
hard.
that things improve there, so those
Mhm.
families don't feel like they have to move too, or like God causes those families to leave and find communities outside of California where they can thrive and grow. So
Yeah,
anyway,
and obviously that's a decision between you and your husband. You guys have
absolutely.
to figure out what's going to work best for your family. What's
Yes.
going to be,
And
like you said,
yeah,
the most
and
God honoring
both
circumstance.
yes, and both of our families, like it was a decision we made as families and that our husbands initiated, and we like willingly are following them, and trusting that God will bless us. And so it was not easy, and it was not like this, oh, we're going to go on this great big adventure.
Yeah, no.
Like
Yeah, no.
we're desperate for a better life,
Yeah,
and
I think what really helped the transition be easier, or like making the decision to maybe submit to your husband's decision of wanting to move is like knowing that you're going to be going somewhere where you have a good church.
Yes.
Like that is probably like the biggest thing, because it would be way more nerve-wracking for me if we like were to move somewhere like, wow, we love living in this area and we're just gonna kind of hope that there's a good church nearby.
Yeah, no, that's backwards way to do it.
That's not how it can work. And so there were two major areas that we were looking into, and this was one of them. So just, in the Lord's providence, he decided that this was the place that we were going to be, and not, going the other direction. But I think if anybody is considering that, like, we're not just saying just up and leave, with no plans and just like, well, whatever happens. Like that has to be a huge part of the equation, is making sure that you know which church you're going to be getting plugged into, and not like, I don't know, maybe this one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
all of us proactively contacted pastors and contacted like the church communities, and we're starting the conversations and investigated. Like Ryan and I came and visited several times before we decided we were going to move here, so it's like, yeah, it's an extremely large decision to make, and we shouldn't just like say, oh, well, let me put the finger on the map wherever's the cheapest. And
yes, exactly.
Wherever's the cheapest and most conservative.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That.
Anyway, okay. Well, this was a really long update, but we haven't talked to you guys in so long. We had so much to talk about. So let's go ahead and wrap this episode up. And next week, we're going to go straight into the practical, and we're going to have a wonderful season with lots of fun content for you guys and extra content for those that are supporting us on Patreon. So thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.